welcome back to the channel. I am the Darklight Emissary, and this episode is on the god engines of the Omnissiah, or Collegia Titanica, the Titans. Titans have been one of my favorite examples of the over-the-top nature of the Warhammer 40k setting. These war machines make a lot of similar concepts in other science fiction or near science fiction settings a joke in size and power, and Warhammer 40k is a form of satire, and I find the biggest Titan class, the Imperator specifically, an example of this satire in a somewhat funny, but also cool and awesome way all at once, but I digress. As with a lot of the factions in the Imperium, this faction is one of the most ancient, having first been started in the Age of Strife, before the union of Mars and Terra, but the technology running these destroyers of cities is truly from the Dark Age of technology, even farther back, making it some of the most advanced and ancient technology still in service to the Imperium to this day. Likewise, most individual Titans are not new machines. While the Adeptus Mechanicus does create new Titans, even smaller ones take many years, up to centuries of ritual and actual work and resources to create, especially given the esoteric tech involved in creating them. But due to the deadliness and outright power of these machines, they do not go down easily, and unless a rival Titan or Titan equivalent is present, or a specialized tank class is there, a Titan is a weapon of strategic power that will sway the battlefield and entire worlds to their side just by being on that battlefield. And the older Titans can sometimes retain older, more powerful technology that is not able to be remade onto newer Titan patterns. There's also a specialized psychic version of Titans called the Legio Ordo Sinister. I found a great quote on one of the wikis regarding these specific Titans that simply says, "Where the god engine walked, fear walked with it." These Titans have a pariah, human princeps, or main pilot, and they use enslaved psychers as ammunition for their weapon systems. These specific Titans are loyal to and created by the Emperor alone, and they are only unleashed into some of the worst circumstances and situations. There's a few great scenes involving them in the Siege of Terra novel Mortis, which focuses on the Titan fights that happened at the end of the Horus Heresy around the Imperial Palace. One of these Titans was able to regenerate damage by using a vortex missile, which is a type of missile that opens a rip into the warp and walking through the rift. Some of these Titans were also deployed into the Webway War underneath the palace against the encroaching demon hordes there. While there are many Titan legions in existence, three of the most ancient of the Titan legions, by name, are the Legio Mortis, Legio Ignotum, and Legio Tempestus. During the Horus Heresy, the Legio Mortis fell completely to chaos, along with Horus, and served as the primary legion of choice for Horus to call upon at the time. Notably, one of the most well-known Titans of the Legio Mortis is the Imperator-class Titan called Dies Irae, who not only survived the insane conflicts that Titans were involved in during the Heresy, which saw entire legions splintered and destroyed. It lasted for the next 10,000 years, where it eventually met its end as a mutated demonic Chaos Titan against some loyalist Titans on a world called Hydra Cordatus. You can read about that conflict in the book called Storm of Iron, which was one of the first books I ever read, and I really enjoyed and can recommend it. Legio Mortis, after the heresy, fell into wholly into the service of the chaos god Nurgle, and became carriers of plague and pestilence, their forms undulating with unnatural decay, growth, and rebirth, metal replaced by bone, sinews, and other organic grotesqueries. Legio Tempestus partially schismed, some falling to chaos, others remaining loyal, while Ignotum remained a wholly loyal legion to the Emperor. Titans played a pivotal role for and against the Emperor in the Horus Heresy in several key grinding conflicts both on Terra and abroad. There were also several legios called Black Shields, who refused to fight for the Emperor or Horus, in hopes of carving their own destiny and paths. Not much else is known about these other than that they existed at the time. Each Titan legion is made up of around 50 engines. They rarely move, however, as a single fighting unit. The strength of a legion is meant to be a force multiplier, so perhaps 5 to 10 are deployed to a typical theater of war, where they are needed as major fighting support to help defeat a dug-in, fortified enemy or other threats their size that Xenos and Rebels can produce. There are many different combinations, and different legions focus on having more or different combinations of different classes of Titans. It's never quite outright said, and I believe it is my own speculation and thoughts after reading over the years, but I believe that the Titans are AI driven, in concert with their Princeps and Moderate controllers. There is much talk in the lore novels of Princeps communing with the soul or machine spirit of their Titans, and how their Titan has a personality. Since AI is officially outlawed in the Imperium, I tend to think that this is one of those exceptions to the rule, that these machines are much too sacred and too close to the Omnissiah for the Mechanicus to look closer at a possible heretical situation, and simply too much of a useful strategic battle tool for the wider Imperium, as well as the Mechanicus themselves. But it is interesting to note that Titans seemingly have a central AI of some degree of intelligence. That being said, I have never found an incident of a Titan walking or battling on their own without their crew, which is important to note, although I did find one specific example of this later that will be talked about. Princeps are the main controller of a Titan, and they often sit in a command throne and have wired ports grafted into their skull and neck and spine. This is called the Mind Impulse Unit, and through it, a Titan is felt intuitively as arms and legs. They can feel the reactor like a heartbeat beating in them, and things like that. The machine spirit, or AI, of these engines are a potent thing, and often the Princeps will start taking on the personality imprinting from the engine over time. Some engines seem to carry with them residual imprints from previous Princeps too, so some Princeps are able to gain some knowledge and insight into an engine over time while also contributing to this imprinting themselves. Another way Princeps can be connected to their Titan, if they, say, are hurt badly physically or age, are put into a amniotic tank, usually permanently, and will control their Titan permanently from that position until their eventual death in battle or due to extreme age over centuries. Below the Princeps are the Moderati, who share through Mind Impulse Unit parts of control of the Titan, sometimes commanding an arm or how fast they are moving, whatever the Princeps wants to delegate as control to their secondaries so he can focus on other things. Moderati are candidates to become Princeps in the future to command their own Titan directly eventually. Regarding classes of Titans, the smallest Titan class is the Warhound Titan. These are often called Scout Titans. While true Titan size is sometimes ambiguous, it is generally accepted that the scale that the Warhound Titan stands around is 15 meters tall. And despite being labeled as a scout, they are still a very powerful, formidable engine of war that you do not want to run into in most situations. True to their name though, they often do fill a scout role, especially if attached to larger Titans in their Legio when deployed. Their weaponry is often heavy rotary style cannons, but they also can carry more exotic weapons, and some are specialized with a claw or claws that can be launched forward to grab and anchor larger Titans and other objects. Often a Warhound will use ruins of buildings and shut down their systems to wait in ambush for targets. Their main purpose is to flank and hit softer enemies or help support taking out larger targets if they are running in a pack of several Warhounds, along with fire support from bigger Titans. While more specialized, senior Princeps can often stay in command of Warhound long term. Generally, this is the first type of Titan a Princeps commands before being given access to the larger god machines, which typically happens with seniority for a Princeps. The next tier of Titan is the Reaver class Titan, standing at around 25 meters tall. These Titans are often used as a major form of fire support for their larger cousins, and they are often meant to engage enemy targets from longer range. They sometimes are equipped with melee weapons like siege hammers or chain fists, occasionally. While not the most powerful of Titans, these are still capable of insane amounts of damage to enemy forces and can easily wipe out city blocks with a single blast of a weapon like a volcano gun or inferno gun. The backbone of most Legios is the next tier of Titan, towering at 33 meters tall, which is the Warlord Titans. Armor-clad in meters-thick armor and void shielding, these behemoths are the true masters of the battlefield, like their name suggests. Often supported by the smaller cousins mentioned so far, their weaponry is used to lay waste to fortified positions, other Titans, and large threats like them, and anything else that is too stubborn to get out of the way of a assaulting force. Notably, Warlords are the only Titan type that make up the Ordo Sinister Titans. Warlords are often alone, but supported by their smaller brethren and other support troops like Skitarii legions and tanks. These machines are army killers, and unless the enemy has specialized weapons or is expecting such resistance, they have little hope of overcoming these monsters. Such is the power and range of certain configurations of warlords that they have even been able to hit low-orbit capital ships on occasion. While all Titans are known as god machines, the next tier is considered near unto an incarnation of the machine god itself, the Imperator class of Titan, the walking avatar of the machine god. These are the most ancient Titans, as the Mechanicus has lost the knowledge necessary to forge these, estimated at 55 meter tall towering battle mechs. There are two main types of Imperator, or Emperor class as they are also known as. Imperator specifically talks about any configuration that is meant to stride directly into a cataclysm and sway the war in their favor, while the other class, the Warmonger class, is specialized in a ultra-long range fire support platform. Their firepower is absolutely withering, and not much can defeat them in battle. They also often carry with them bastions on their legs, dedicated Skitarii forces. Notably, at least one or two of these were killed directly by Sanguinius during the Horus Heresy, who was able to punch into their command deck with his spear and kill their command crews. The princeps of these machines are often the most senior and the leader of their respective legio, and most respected and listened to whether in their engine or not. Despite all of their firepower and danger, they can be defeated by smaller Titans and forces working together. One of the most notable examples of this was an Imperator brought down by a pack of specialized warhounds who used their Ursus Claw attachments to anchor the arms of the Imperator into the ground and render it unable to aim or move, where it was then boarded by forces of the Word Bearers and World Eaters, legions of Space Marines. Another notable example was of a loyalist Imperator on the world of Molech. It was flanked by a group of knights it thought was supporting it that had been corrupted to Slaanesh by Fulgrim, who was a demon primarch by this time. They all fired on a vulnerable part of the back of the Imperator's spine, breaching its reactor, sending it into a catastrophic meltdown event. One other thing I will touch on briefly is the main defense system of Titans, which is the Void Shields. I find them really fascinating as a concept. They use what are known as giant generators that form a not just a shield to deflect enemy firepower, but may actually be shifting enemy firepower into the warp itself, or otherwise cancel out incoming fire through using this method. These are potent and seemingly work mostly by layering several generators worth of shielding over a Titan. The bigger the Titan, the more layers it can envelope itself in. And notably in the book Mortis, a group of loyalist Titans were able to stand in proximity to each other, overlapping all their void shields together, helping to spread the damage out and keep their shields up longer in a absolutely mega battle against Legio Mortis. After a void shield cancels out a certain amount of firepower, they eventually will be overwhelmed and collapse, leaving a Titan vulnerable. They can regenerate, but often this is too late for a Titan, since that amount of firepower is usually punitive to begin with to be able to be brought down. Basically with Titans, they are the Imperium's answer when things must die, and punitively. And I love the absolute over-the-top nature of them. They exemplify Warhammer 40k so well as a setting. A quick note I won't get into here as to ensure not to go on and on in this one, but most Imperial technology runs on pattern equipment from sources called standard templates, and these were originally produced by standard template constructs or constructors, which are from the dark age of technology. These were a combination of machine and factory and were able to produce anything someone requested of it. In an early book I read called The Dark Adeptus, the Grey Knights chapter of Space Marines discovers a corrupted Titan, but this one seemed to have been made by a standard template construct of some kind, or was harboring one. This was known as the Castigator, and was the original Titan ever made during the Dark Age of Technology era. It had been tainted by the warp and possessed by a demon, and it fired demons out of its cannons as a form of ammunition. Any damage done to it would be repaired seemingly by a nanotech technology built into its armor, and notably it's the only Titan ever recorded to be ran by AI instead of a crew. As is typical with humanity in the current era, all other Titan classes are basically imitations of this much older and more powerful technology and Titan design. And notably, from an aesthetic point of view, its head was on top of its shoulders instead of buried in between the shoulders in the chest area. As noted a bit earlier, many Titans were corrupted by the forces of chaos, including the entirety of the Mortis Legio. Most of these corrupted Titans are aligned with one of the 4 main Chaos Gods, and their change in appearance often manages to match the appearance of their chosen deity. These Titans often start gradually becoming sentient on their own, or with a demon possessing them. Their crew consumed by the Titan as it grows and expands itself into a more half-organic monstrosity. Several of the Imperator-class Titans were merged directly with greater demons of different gods, making them basically immortal juggernauts of nightmarish proportions. Most of the Titans I've seen in literature and research are aligned with Khorne or Nurgle, less so with Tzeentch, and I do not want to imagine an Imperator aligned with Slaanesh. That sounds like a true horror to me. I imagine a gigantic excessive wall of noise, or something even worse I won't speculate on here so that YouTube doesn't nuke this video out of existence for speaking such heresies. So that has been a bit about the Titan Legions and Titans themselves. I hope you enjoyed this. As I was writing it, I wasn't sure how long this would last. It looks like this one is going to last about normal for a video. But I feel like this is a good overview of this faction. I could always talk a bit more about specific patterns of Titans and stuff later. So as always, thank you so much for your time and watching and listening to this video and the other ones. If you haven't seen the other ones, there is an entire playlist on the Primarchs and their legions, and this growing playlist of Imperial factions, and I plan on getting into Xenos factions soon. So please like and subscribe for more content like this, and let me know of something you'd like to see me talk about, or leave a comment discussing the topic at hand. As always, bring your light into the dark places, and I hope that you have a great day or night wherever you are, and thank you again for spending some time with me out of your day. Talk to you soon.